Hello. I'm Donald Hoagland, English teacher, Madison East Side High School. I really, honestly, I cannot believe that you asked me to speak for you. And thank you for choosing me. I feel like I've won the Oscars or something. I mean, they love me. They really love me. Oh yeah, forget it. Okay. Seriously, I am very sincerely honored and privileged to be able to speak for you on the class of 2010 Madison East Side High School. But before we begin, I got to ask you a favor. Now here's the deal. I would like you to look at the individual on either side of you. Recognize them. Smile at them, nod at them, you know the deal. Okay, now, grasp hands. Everybody, grasp hands, hold hands. All right, what I would like you to do is on the count of 3, raise your hands up in the air for the whole world to see. We're on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, up. Now hold that pose. Thank you. You may lower your hands, and if you like, you may also continue to hold hands. Now, the reason I had to do this is a couple of reasons. One, first of all, I promised the boy that I would send him a picture of you at your ceremony from the podium. I thought it would be a beautiful thing to do. He likes Eastside High School. He's heard about it all his life. But more importantly, what you have just demonstrated is an act of community and of sharing and of cooperation. You have shown this audience your ability to pull off a simple task, 400 people strong, in a matter of seconds. You have demonstrated for one last memorable time the reality that you are a community that will forever be bound by the memory of East Side High School. You will go out into the world with that commonality that will bind you until the end of your days. So how can you live those days between now and then? And how can you show East Side pride from here on out? Through stories. Through your stories. So, I have a few brief stories to tell. Mom and Carl's stories. Carl was my stepdad for 19 years. And from these two people, I have learned valuable lessons that carry me through my life now. In the simplest ways, they taught me the most enduring lessons, bits and pieces of wisdom that I would like to pass on to you, class of 2010. When I look back at my life as a boy and a young man, I reflect upon my experiences, and I hope to grow from them. I take the time to see these events for what they were and are. These experiences, these stories, have made me the man I am today, for good or bad. Now, I will share a few stories with you in hopes that you come away with the idea that you can continue to learn and to grow and to be a good individual who contributes to the well-being and happiness of those around you. In the end, what it all comes down to is that you live a full and happy life, and a fulfilled and dynamic life. Madison Eastside High School is an institution dedicated to giving you a foundation from which to grow and stretch your wings and to make your way through life. So here's your last lesson, courtesy of me and Eastside High School. And yes, it is written in stone on the front of our castle, East Side High School. And we are East east side. So here we begin. Stories. Stories are interesting, fun, vital. They belong to us. We belong to them. Stories. We all have stories. We think stories. We dream stories. We create stories. We are stories. Breathing, walking, talking, living, thinking stories. Even in their briefest form, stories mold us, help us to, as Prince says, get through this thing called life. And like all stories, we leave an impact on those around us. So here we go. Story number one. Potato story. So I grew up in farm country, mainly potato country. And one of the things that Carl would do around September is load all my brothers and me into the back of a pickup, give us a 5-gallon bucket, and take us to the potato fields. One day, one of my brothers says to Carl, "Where are we going?" And Carl simply replied, "We're going to glean potatoes." Not clean, glean, G-L-E-A-N. He never did define it, but we ended up going to the potato fields after the machines harvested them, and we would pick up leftover potatoes. We would pick up the good ones, put them into the buckets, load them into the truck, and go back for more. We would store these potatoes in a cellar, and they would last us all fall and winter. It was not until years later I realized what glean meant. And when I also realized that this is how I lived my life. Glean, to gather grain bit by bit. I added to the definition to realize that gleaning also meant to take the good stuff. The stuff that would benefit me. Whole potatoes keep longer than nicked or cut potatoes, and they're very good for me. I grew up on them, and I benefited from the nutrition that they provided. From that point of realization, I used gleaning as an approach to life, to my life. Sifting through all that is offered from this world and collecting in bits that which was most beneficial and important. And as I have grown and aged, I have gleaned valuable advice, gleaned many important and new things, and I have become happy as a result. You would do well to follow the same path. My gas station story, story number 2. Happiness. So, at one point in my high school career, I was struggling a bit with my grades, because I was goofing off. So Mom says to me, "Donald, you need to do a better job with your grades if you're going to go to college." You see, Mom rarely ever talked to me about grades, but she knew I wanted to go to college. Nobody in my entire family, on Mom's side, Dad's side, had gone to college and graduated. She continued on to say that she knew I wanted to go, and that if I wanted to, then I better work harder. After saying that, though, she said something that has stuck in my memory since that day. If you don't go to college, that is up to you. If you want to go, that is also up to you. I really don't care what you do with your life, or where you work, or what you choose to do for a career. You could pump gas for a living at the local gas station, because in Oregon, you get paid to pump gas. But as long as you choose to do that for a living, and as long as that makes you happy, I want you to be happy, she says. You should do the things that make you happy. That's what my mom told me. That was probably one of the coolest things she had ever said to me. Be happy, find happiness. Talk about taking the pressure out of school. Talk about giving me a bit of wisdom by which to live my life. Happiness. Last story. My excuse story. Subject, pride. So, a few years ago I was listening to a current senior at East High from that time, and an alum from 6 years prior to that. And they were joking around about being products of East. The senior was having trouble with his math homework, couldn't figure it out, so he simply said, that's okay, I go to East. The East alum heard this and busted out laughing, as did I. I mean, because it was funny in context. Well, later the alumni started telling me about how he and his friends, whenever they messed up, would simply state, that's okay, I went to East. So for the remainder of that semester, this became a familiar refrain. That's okay, I go to East. That's okay, I went to East. However, I began to wonder why this would seem so funny, what with me being a teacher and all. So I began to think of the qualities of Eastside High, with the opportunities, the diversity, the community, the clubs, the sports, the arts, the classes, the staff, the students. We are exposed to people and languages and ideas from all walks of life and from all over the world. And I realized that we should not use our connection to East as an excuse. I decided to look at the positives about attending and graduating from East, and I decided to change my tune from laughing at the goofiness of that refrain to using the refrain as an assurance. Seniors, start looking back at your soon-to-be alma mater and start realizing what we have given you. Instead of berating yourself and using East as an excuse, use Eastside High School and your attendance and graduation from Eastside High School as a reassurance. It's okay, I graduated from Eastside High. It's okay, I graduated from Eastside High. It's okay, I graduated from Eastside High. When you venture out into this wide, sometimes not so welcoming, and certainly ever so challenging world, reflect back on your schooling experience. Remember that student body, remember the staff, remember the building, and remember what you have gleaned from this place in order for you to search the world for that happiness. And remember what you have learned in those formative years, that you have the opportunity to see the world, share its secrets, and find and spread happiness. It's okay. I graduated from Eastside High. When you're out in the ever-changing world and you are asked to help, to work, to contribute, to step up, to challenge, to succeed, simply state, it's okay. I graduated from Eastside High. When you're on the corner helping elders with their groceries or with their walks across the street, reassure them by saying, it's okay. I graduated from Eastside High. When you are that superhero you always wanted to be and lifting cars away from the danger of the oncoming train, reassure the passengers in your best superhero voice, it's okay, I graduated from Eastside High. When people are at a loss for ideas on how to make the world a better place, recall your lessons both in and outside the classroom by stepping up and saying, I got an idea. And it's okay. I graduated from Eastside High. Take pride in where you're from, in what you do, and where you go, while knowing you are prepared for adversity and obstacles, because all you have to think is, it's okay. I graduated from Eastside High. Finally, I'm almost done. Learn. Here's a good one. One last thing. Take time to reflect on your stories and the stories of others. My good friend and colleague Beth Torreson once told me, there is no substitute for time and experience. As we continue through life, and as you continue on your journey, just as babies do, you will grow and learn from time and experience. Don't ever forget that. Go out into the world and continue to learn. Remember your last lesson as an Eastside High School student, and as you step off the stage as an Eastside High School graduate, remember your lessons. Look forward to the stories you will create and see and hear and experience. Remember to glean as you go. Remember to find happiness in wherever it may be. Remember to take pride in your past and your present. Remember to learn from your life. Go out and reassure the world that you are prepared to face it, help it, appreciate it, and contribute So Kay, I graduated from Eastside High. Congratulations, class of 2002. Peace.